everyone, welcome back to my channel, and if you're new here, welcome. This is Sorority Recruitment 101, the channel dedicated to answering the questions you may have about what it's like to be in a sorority in college and what it's like to go through sorority recruitment. My name is MacKenzie, and as you can tell by the title, today I'm going to be talking to you guys about the time that I dropped my sorority at the University of Alabama, and if I regretted my decision, if I decided to rush again. I'm going to tell you guys all of that right here in today's video. So I'm going to start at the beginning. I went through Rush as a freshman, and I ended up getting my last choice house. This was really disappointing for me, but to be honest, the reason this happened is because I wasn't prepared enough for Rush. So I did do research about what it'll be like to go through recruitment at Alabama, and the website does give you a lot of information and does give you a lot of resources to give you an inside look about what your experience will be like going through recruitment at your specific school. But to be honest, there are a lot of unspoken rules of recruitment you need to follow in order to succeed. And you're not going to know these unspoken rules unless you know someone who's been through recruitment on the same scale as the one that's put on at your school. And that's where I come in, because I've been through the largest sorority recruitment in the country and learned so much by going through the process, being on the other side, being in-house for recruitment. And I was a recruitment counselor my senior year. So I've learned all aspects of the biggest recruitment in the country. And this is why I've come on YouTube, because I want to share all of the hidden secrets so you guys know how to succeed and get your top house during recruitment. So recruitment week my freshman year, I was so excited to be there. I was meeting so many new people. I was getting to see every single house, and I was just so excited to be going through sorority recruitment. This kind of hindered me during my recruitment process because I wasn't very focused. I was caught up in all of the emotions that happened. I was excited. It was a new experience, and I was just happy to be there, to be honest. This led me to not really thinking through my answers to questions and kind of just going with the flow of recruitment. Bid day comes around and I got my last choice house. Now, I was really disappointed about this, but I was still interested in joining the chapter, interested in seeing what it was about, so I kept an open mind and accepted my bid. Also, one of my friends from high school was in this chapter at Alabama, and she loved it, so I knew it couldn't be as bad as I thought it would be. The reason that this sorority was my last choice house was because I just didn't really feel like I clicked with the girls. I didn't have the best conversations, and they weren't able to answer some of my questions in the way that I would have liked them to. But like I said, I was going in with an open mind, and I was ready to see what this chapter was all about. So at Alabama, after bid day, every sorority goes on a bid day retreat. This gives you the chance to get to know everyone in your pledge class, gives you the chance to get to know actives and what to expect from this sorority that you've just joined. After the bid day festivities were over, I got to go back to my dorm and pack up my things to go on our retreat. My roommates were getting ready for their retreats as well, and their actives came to pick them up to bring them back to the house, or they were walking back with a lot of their pledge sisters. For me, no one was really coordinating anything with my new sorority, and I actually walked to the house by myself with all my stuff. That was kind of disappointing because my roommates were being, like I said, they were being picked up by actives, they were walking with their new sisters, and I didn't have any of that. So I knew right then and there something was a little bit off. Once I got to the house, I tried to remain positive about the situation, but the vibe at the house was so gloomy and so dull. And that was so disappointing for me. It seemed that no one was excited to be in this house, that no one wanted to go on this bid day retreat. I got there and everyone was on their phones. People were talking about how much they didn't want to get this sorority, but they're here. And that was really hard for me because this is supposed to be an exciting time where you're meeting your new pledge sisters. You're all excited because you just joined a new sorority and you're about to go on pledge retreat and have such a great time. This was definitely not the case for my pledge class. They took attendance when we got to the house. We hopped on a bus and the bus ride was silent the whole way there. No one talked, everyone was on their phones, and that just was not fun for me. So our bus brought us to the hotel where our bid day retreat was. We had a ballroom where we kind of just played Icebreaker Games and got to know each other a little bit better. But just like before we left to come on this bid day retreat, everyone was on their phones. No one really wanted to be engaged in these icebreaker activities, and it was just such a letdown for me because I was so excited to join a sorority. Our bid day retreat was just not what I thought it would be, and it didn't give me that sense of community and family that I thought I would get with joining a sorority. So we got back from pledge retreat. I was the first one back out of all my roommates, which gave me time to think and reflect on what this weekend was. My roommates got back and they were all so excited and couldn't wait to tell me about their pledge retreats because they had such a good time and loved their sorority sisters. I was so upset that I couldn't join in sharing some good experience at my pledge retreat just because mine wasn't as fun as theirs was. And it was really hard for me because I wanted to be so excited about my sorority, but I just wasn't. So now classes have started. We have our meals at the house now. Our house was one of the older houses, which meant it was a lot smaller than some of the newer ones. And our chapters at Alabama are really big. It's 400 plus girls in one chapter. So not having a house where we had room to hang out and meet up during the day made it also difficult to meet people in my chapter. I didn't really have many friends in my sorority just because, like I said, our house was a little small, so no one could really hang out there. And the actives weren't as friendly as I wish they would have been. Some of them were. I'm not saying all of them weren't, but majority of them were not friendly and did not really want to get to know us well. So a lot of the times during meals, I would sit with one or two people. I didn't know them because I saw new people every time I was at the house. And that was hard because I wasn't really making friends, wasn't really bonding with people like I thought I would. Sometimes I would even sit by myself at meals and then just walk right back to my dorm. Also, as the semester went on, we had swaps, which is when you go to a fraternity house and you meet their pledge class and have a party together. A lot of the times these parties had themes, but our themes were not as fun and creative as a lot of the other chapters were on campus. It was still fun, don't get me wrong, like we all got to go out and have a good time on Thursday night and dress up in costumes and just meet a bunch of new people. But I wish we would have had more fun themes where we could have gotten more creative and had a really good time. Now, 2 months in is where I started thinking that I was gonna drop my sorority. This is just because I still didn't feel like I clicked with the girls and I still wasn't really having that great of a time. Also, my roommates would always tell me stories about their swaps at their sorority, talking with actives, talking with the new members, and just getting to know everyone and how welcoming everyone was and how much of a family both of their sororities were. I knew that the fact that I wasn't able to reciprocate what they were saying, something was wrong. And that maybe this wasn't the house for me. I always knew I wanted to join a sorority just because I did have cousins that were involved and they loved their time and always had great stories to tell when they got back. So I was really sad to think that I was thinking of dropping my sorority and that I wouldn't be involved in Greek life for the rest of the year. It got to the point where I decided to talk to my friends, my roommates, and my family back home about my concerns with being a part of this chapter and that I'm still not having a good time and having fun and that I'm thinking of dropping the sorority. It was just great to be able to talk to people about it, get their opinions, and really just make the best decision for me and my college experience. I even decided to express my concerns about dropping with active members of my sorority to see if they could tell me stories about what it's like to be an active and kind of convince me to stay in a way. But sadly, they couldn't even do that. I would say 90% of them said that they thought about dropping at one point or another as well. And I know they were probably saying this to comfort me a little bit, but it really just concerns me because why do I want to be a part of a sorority where 80% of the members have thought about dropping before? That's not what a sorority is about. A sorority is about being a group of sisters and helping each other grow and become the best person that we can be. And I know that sounds really cheesy and cliche, but that's what it's supposed to be about. Not about not liking the chapter, not liking the girls, not being proud to be members of this sorority. And that's what I ran into when I talked to the actives. They didn't really do a good job convincing me of why that sorority was such a good sorority to be a part of. It was getting closer to initiation and I had to make a decision. I really wanted to be a part of Greek life, but was this the kind of experience that I wanted the next 4 years? Definitely not. So after much discussion with everyone I spoke to, I decided to drop my sorority. It was a hard decision, but I had to do it if I wanted to have a really good college experience and just make the most of my time at Alabama. Luckily for me, I had really supportive roommates that brought me to their houses for meals and also invited me out with their friends so I could meet more people and still have that Greek life feel throughout my freshman year. I did miss out on some fun things my freshman year, like homecoming week and Greek week, and seeing my roommates be involved and seeing everything they did with their sorority sisters throughout the year. I knew I wanted to rush again and be a member of a sorority. So this time around, I did way more intense research to make sure I was prepared for recruitment. I wanted to get my top house and there was going to be nothing to stop me getting there. So I talked with my friends who were in sororities. I went online and I researched everything. I made sure I had a rec and multiple recs for every house. These things really improved my rush game and helped me be the most prepared for recruitment and have my best foot forward. So sophomore year recruitment week comes around and I am so prepared for this week. I had all of my recommendation letters, I had all of my outfits planned out, and I was just so much more confident this time going through recruitment. I also knew a lot more about the sorority houses after being on campus for a year. I got to meet a lot of girls in a lot of different houses, so I knew what to expect going into them and which houses I really thought I could fit in at versus ones I don't feel like I could fit in at. I also knew exactly what to say and what not to say in order to put my best foot forward at every house. This time around, I actually did get the same amount of houses back each round, which was funny. But I was getting more houses that I really liked and that I was excited to go back to. Bid day comes around and I end up getting my top house and I was ecstatic. Just because rush the year before didn't really go too well and I ended up getting my last choice house. I was so nervous that that was going to happen again this time around, but it didn't, and I got my top house. I couldn't have been more excited. The vibe at this house on bid day was completely different as soon as I stepped in the door. We got there and we were picked up by one of our bid day bigs. They gave us all of our gear, including our jerseys, our hats, our sunglasses, everything we could want. We also had a meal at the house that day and all of the actives were there. They were coming up to us saying how excited they were for us to join XOXo and for us to learn about everything this chapter has to offer. It already felt like a family within my first 5 minutes of being in the house. After our meal, we had a meeting with our new member trainers and we called them our Mama Hoots and they were awesome. All they did was welcome us and say how happy they were for us to be there and just telling us everything to expect for Pledge Retreat and just for our new member experience in Chi Omega. So after our meeting, we all went home to pack for Pledge Retreat and then we met back at the house. This is where the buses picked us up to bring us to a ranch right outside Tuscaloosa. I got to the house and everyone was in the best mood. They were so excited to be members of Chi Omega and we just all met each other and couldn't wait to go on Pledge Retreat together and get to know each other better. On the bus, we did karaoke. This was so much fun and you really got to see the personalities of people in your pledge class to see what songs they picked and how they performed, and it was just one of the experiences that I will never forget. So we got to the ranch and played Icebreaker Games, we played team building games, and we also got to tie-dye shirts with our letters on them. This was so exciting because I was getting to know people, everyone was so excited to be members, and I got my first piece of clothing with my letters on it that I could wear around campus. This Pledge Retreat experience was so different from my first sorority. And it really just proved to me that I made the right decision by not settling my freshman year and deciding to re-rush as a sophomore. It was such a difference too because everyone wanted to be members of this sorority. Everyone was so excited to have gotten a bid to be a member of this amazing chapter. Altogether, I am so happy with the decision that I made my freshman year to drop and to re-rush as a sophomore. I really couldn't have asked for a better college experience in a sorority that did so much on campus and for the community around them. And I'm just so grateful for Chi Omega for giving me the best college experience I could have asked for. So that's my story about dropping a sorority and re-rushing my sophomore year. Now, if you don't get your top choice house, definitely try it out. Keep an open mind because I know people who didn't want to be members of my first sorority and ended up loving it later on. It all depends on you and how you're feeling in your chapter. If you don't feel like you fit in, give it some time and see if it changes over the course of a few months. And if you're still finding difficulty, definitely think about dropping and re-rushing. It's not a big deal, and it's a super easy thing to do. I'm so happy I did it because I couldn't have asked for a better experience being in Chi Omega, and I couldn't be more grateful for what it gave me throughout my college career. If you guys have any more questions about dropping a sorority or what it's like to go through rush as a sophomore, please comment them down below. I would love to answer them for you. Alright, so that's it for today's video. I post new videos every single Monday, so make sure you subscribe down below and click that notification bell so you never miss a video. Also, make sure you follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, and I will put those links down below. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you guys in the next one.